The key to success at work and in life isn't really about starting strong, it's about staying strong. And one of the keys to having that staying power is the idea of self regulation. And this requires that you operate within your lower and upper boundaries of your activity and predetermine the minimum and maximum amount of action that you will take towards a specific goal within a certain amount of time, such as a day or a week. All of this keeps you from getting derailed because you may have dropped off or lost interest, or you may have overdone it and you may find yourself too exhausted to continue. One of the most game changing shifts that I have made in my life was to stop managing time and start managing my energy instead. To start, we need to call out two fundamentally unhelpful mental anchors. The first one is that idea that life is a marathon and not a sprint. Now, whoever said that was not working and living in the new millennium. It's absolutely both. Life is a marathon made up of lots of shorter sprints. We are dealing with a world that requires us to exist in constant, high intensity interval training. Spurts of high effort followed by short periods of downtime before we must do it all again. So in this video, I'm going to talk about 4 things that you should avoid doing to manage your energy effectively. And all of this will help you to manage your time and your day better, enabling you to become more productive in your life. These things that I'm going to talk about actually drain your energy, and so they must be kept under strict control. Before we begin, I want you to like this video so that it stays with you as your future reference. And please subscribe to my channel to continue accessing content that will help you to learn, grow, succeed, and find solutions to your varied needs. The first thing to avoid doing is to avoid making things complicated. Ever felt like that your life, your relationships, or your projects are a mess, too muddy and too complicated? Well, who doesn't feel that way at times? In my experience, we complicate things for one main reason: because we are unwilling to deal with our own insecurities and shortcomings. And then we blame some other person or event, not ourselves, and that particular thing skews our reality. Let me give you a few examples. A manager who is insecure about confronting another person about their non-performance or bad behavior will eventually abdicate his responsibility to hold his direct reports accountable for their actions or results. And then when another employee complains, the manager will complicate the whole matter by getting angry at them or for calling out a coworker instead of dealing with or confronting the real problem, that is the offending employee. Or the manager will defend the offender by saying, well, he or she is overloaded, he or she is going through a rough patch, or he'll just snap out of it, give him or her time. You know what? That's a cover up. You are riding your own unwillingness to fix yourself. Fix your unwillingness to confront. Here's another example from personal life. A married couple who is not good at communicating. Well, they don't talk about important topics, and then they get mad at each other when things go wrong, when decisions go south, and then they blame those things instead of the real problem, which is their unwillingness to talk about the important matters. You cannot fix any problem if you blame the wrong issue or you are unwilling to discuss it. A third example: a procrastinator won't admit or deal with his or her procrastination. Instead, they blame not having enough time or their expectations are too high as a reason for non performance or incompletion of their tasks. Any convenient excuse will do, but if they get more time, the next go around, they will still wait until the last minute and run out of time again. You see, it's not about lack of time. It's not about unfairly high expectations. It's about dealing with your real problem, that is procrastination. What's the solution? Well, deal with your own stuff. Don't run and hide. Identify your own problems, no matter how painful they are, and get over them. The second thing is to avoid too much of complaining. It's not that most people sit around all day pointing out the negative in life. They are far from it. Most of us maybe even actively seek to notice and talk about everything we must be thankful for in our lives. We may even frequently share special moments with loved ones, follow our passions in life, write about gratitude in a journal or in a book, or engage in other positive activities. But we still find ourselves complaining more than that we need to, and more than doing a lot of complaining is unhealthy. Most of us do need to vent frustrations from time to time, and hopefully, this is done in the context of brainstorming solutions. We need to talk to our loved ones about their feelings, about our feelings, both positive and negative. We need to seek the opinions of those we trust when facing difficult choices or situations. And this can be positive, but it can also often involve sharing stories about problems. And sometimes that slips into excessive complaining or gossip, and that can be a slippery slope. Sometimes voicing one's complaints is a way to get things done. If you complain to someone who can make the relevant changes, the desired changes, and if you can use a diplomatic approach, complaining in this way can be much more effective in relieving stress than saying nothing, since the polite complaint approach can get results. Complaining, however, can be damaging as well. When a few venting sessions turn into a continual habit, or a few people venting their frustrations turn into a group of constant complainers, we get into the more stress inducing territory. The problems we complain about often need solutions, and the stress of these challenges must be minimized and managed. Clearly, complaining has some benefits and can be a way to relieve stress in small doses. But excessive complaining about the problems, big or small, just isn't an effective solution. So cut out complaining, and you're much more likely to see the world with optimism and gratitude. The third thing to avoid doing is stop comparing yourself to others. Maybe you notice that some of the people you went to college with seem to be moving faster in their careers, maybe even more successful than you are. If you're training for your first marathon, don't compare yourself to someone who is a 5-time champion. Instead, measure yourself against where you were a year ago or a month ago. If you're trying to be the top salesperson, don't compare yourself with your award-winning salesperson who just won another award. Instead, compare yourself with your stats from last year's performance or maybe your last month's top performance. So be realistic about your metrics and your comparisons. Now, I do recognize that benchmarking is important, and I also know that it's hard to ignore your friends, siblings, neighbors, or someone who shares your space. But remember, they're also looking at you. So I want you to always ask yourself this: do the people you compare yourself with know all the relevant information about you when it comes to the comparisons, good or bad? And I really doubt it. And the same goes for your comparisons and assumptions about the other people. You don't have their full story. So don't make the side-by-side comparison. Talent and self-esteem are related, but one of them does not guarantee the other. So instead of comparing what you do and don't have, I want you to focus on your self-efficacy, your ability to plan and execute. This will help you to stay productive and contribute to your success. Your metric comes down to you meeting your expectations. If you're falling short of those expectations, then think, what can you do to meet them? Or are those expectations even worth it? You are allowed to change your preferences, but just make sure that you're keeping all of that real. The fourth thing to avoid doing is to avoid being anxious. So control your anxiety. Now, I would love to tell you to stop worrying, but based on your personality, upbringing, values, culture, and life experiences, it can be hard. But I can still say this: keep your anxiety in check. See, you don't control all the changes happening around you, you manage it. And so you don't control your anxiety, you manage it. So if you're responsible to your duties as a professional, family member, teammate, you are responsible for managing your stress and anxiety. And everyone has stress around something. So this isn't something new. But anxiety zaps you of your energy. It can even make you sick. And uncontrolled anxiety affects us in the worst possible ways. It can rob you of your rationality as well as your creativity and positivity. It floods your body and brain with stress hormones. It makes you perceive things, situations, and others as threats and bigger threats than they really are. And ironically, anxiety causes fatigue and also can ruin your sleep. Everyone has different stressors and everyone manages their stress differently, but there are healthy ways of managing stress and unhealthy ways of managing it. Just like there are ways of managing a team that can make them feel motivated and autonomous, or make them feel bored and just going through the work just like that. So lean into the stress management that is more sustainable and that leaves you feeling healthier and happier. In fact, create some good stress around it. I mean, if you're going to be stressed anyway, why not have it work for you rather than work against you? I hope you found this video useful. Please give me a like and do subscribe to my channel if you haven't done already, as we regularly post content to help you learn, grow, succeed, and find solutions to your varied business, career, and life needs. Thanks for watching.